Hello and welcome back for another Torah Tuesday. This week I'm going to do something completely out of the ordinary. Instead of working our way through Exodus, I'm going to tell you about the conferences that I just attended in San Antonio. I had 7 days of back-to-back academic conferences. First, the Evangelical Theological Society, then the Institute for Biblical Research, and then the Society of Biblical Literature. 7 days of complete nerd fest with Bible scholars and theologians and professors of religion from around the world gathering together in San Antonio to present their research to each other, to buy books in the book exhibit hall, to renew friendships over meals, to meet with publishers and pitch book ideas, or meet with editors and talk about progress on projects. This conference is always the academic highlight of my year. My first year attending was 2009 in New Orleans. The conference moves from city to city every year. This was my third time in San Antonio for it. But my first conference in 2009 in New Orleans, I was a master's student working on a master's in biblical studies. I walked around wide-eyed because items from my bibliography were walking past me. I would walk down the hall and I'm just looking at everyone's name tags, and the books that you see behind me in my office, like the authors of all of these books go to the conferences. And so it's an amazing opportunity to meet the people whose research has influenced you and to ask them questions and to make new friends. It's really incredible. And it's been fun to see the changes over the years. When I first started attending ETS, there were not very many women. In fact, it was possible at that point to know virtually all the women who attended. That is no longer possible. There are so many women attending, and that's been so encouraging to see the growth. I could count on one hand, maybe two hands, the number of papers given by women the first year that I attended. And this year there were 75 women presenting at ETS. And we had over 100 at our networking event on Tuesday evening. It's been so gratifying to see the growth in evangelical women being engaged in biblical scholarship and theological scholarship. So that was a fun event and especially exciting because this year, the program chair for the conference for ETS was Dr. Carmen Jobs. First time we've had a female program chair. And we had 2 plenary speakers who were female out of the 3. We've had 1 before, but we've never had 2 before. And so there was just a real shift in the atmosphere. It seemed as though women were more welcome and more participating more widely. That was really encouraging. As of right now, Carmen Jobs is now the president of ETS. There's a progression from vice chair to program chair to president, and then 4 years of being past president while serving on the executive committee. And so Dr. Carmen Jobs, at the 75th anniversary of the start of ETS, is now the president, first woman in history to serve in that role. And that's exciting. We also saw some big things happen at the business meeting on Thursday morning. This is, the nerdiest of the nerd fest is the business meeting where we follow Robert's Rules of Order and work on any business related to the society. And this year, as every year, there was an election for members to the nominating committee. And 2 women, including myself, were elected to the nominating committee. And so of the 5 members on the committee now, 2 are women. And that means we get to exercise our voice to select future leaders of ETS, a future leader who will be welcoming towards women. And so that was really an encouraging development, a change from the beginning where I felt like I really didn't belong at ETS. I wanted to be there, but didn't feel like I belonged. And I very much feel like I belong now. So that's been a blessing. So that was ETS. Another highlight at ETS, besides seeing friends, connecting with publishers, listening to papers, was meeting Adam and Kirsten. Shout out to Adam and Kirsten who live in the area and drove to downtown to the Riverwalk area to meet with me and in person. They're watchers of Torah Tuesday and they've read my books and wanted to come and thank me in person. It was really fun to hear about the way God is using them in their church community to inspire people to re-engage with Scripture. And so that was a special blessing. Thanks, Adam and Kirsten, for coming to meet me. I also presented a paper at ETS on the Spirit's empowerment of women, specifically looking at the feature of prophecy, the gift of prophecy, and tracing that through Old and New Testaments, and then considering implications for the church today. That was a joy to present. The Institute for Biblical Research meetings began on Friday, and I'm on the board of directors for the Institute for Biblical Research. I've been on the board for 5 years, and this year was program chair. And so it was really exciting to see a wonderful slate of papers being presented in our research group sessions, to participate in board meetings, and to be present for the highlight of the year, which was the annual lecture on Friday evening this year given by Dr. David Firth, an Australian scholar who's teaching at Trinity College, Bristol in England. He presented on Book 4 of the Psalms and just examining the theological themes of that book. And that was a wonderful paper, followed by responses from Federico Villanueva, who is a Filipino scholar working with Langham Partnership, and then by Beth Laniel Tanner, who teaches at the University of New Brunswick in New Jersey. Both of them well-respected Psalms scholars. That lecture was then followed by a reception sponsored by IVP Academic, my own publisher, and they treated us to some wonderful sorbet and ice cream that was being made on the spot. That was really fun. And we just got to visit with friends. This is the one night of the year where I stay up later than any other night. I got back to my hotel room at 11:45, which is very late for me. I'm not a night owl, but I never want to leave the room because there are so many amazing Christian biblical scholars in the same room together, so many friends to see and new people to meet. If you can imagine all of the Bible scholars in the world who have a strong commitment to the authority of Scripture and to doing their work as Christians, but are engaging broadly with the wider world and doing good academic work, all in the same room together on one evening. It's always amazing to be in that room. That was followed by a very short night of sleep, and then the IBR Women's Breakfast the following morning. We had 150 women this year sign up, and we came together and heard from Dr. Karen Jobes and from Dr. Marian Taylor, both of them talking about the role of women in the academy and in the church. It was so fun to get to visit with friends there. So many other events I could tell you about, meetings with publishers where we talked about potential projects or checked in about past projects, reconnecting with wonderful scholars like Esau McCulley and Tim Mackey and Nijay Gupta and Richard Middleton, Aubrey Buster, just so many friends that I got to see, and to see their books for sale in the exhibit hall. I came home with a whole stack of books. I have just 2 to show you, but there are thousands of books on display in the exhibit hall at deep discounts, which is what makes people keep coming back. I came home with this book by Barry Beitzel, Where Was the Biblical Red Sea? Examining the Ancient Evidence. I didn't know about this book, and when I saw it, I thought I better read that as I work on my Exodus commentary. And just before the trip, this arrived in the mail, the Lexham Geographic Commentary on the Pentateuch, also by Barry Beitzel. He's the editor, but there are contributions by a whole range of wonderful scholars, focusing specifically on geographic considerations in the Torah. So where do things take place? What do we know about from archaeology or from geographic studies that can help us understand the text more deeply? I was honored to endorse this book, and so my copy came in the mail, and it was for sale in the book exhibit hall, so it was fun to see it there. Also, 2 of the nerdiest things, you just wouldn't believe how many people there are out there in the world writing commentaries on Exodus. I have counted 8. 5 of us gathered on Sunday afternoon at SBL just to talk about our process and to talk about what it's been like to write on Exodus and to learn from each other. That was really fun. And then after that, I went out to dinner with 7 other women who are writing commentaries on the Old Testament. This is one of our IBR affinity groups. We get together several times a year to talk about commentary writing, and it was really fun to do so in person and to update each other on our progress. When I started seminary, nearly all the commentaries were written by men, and very good commentaries, but I'm excited about the added voices of women and minority scholars to the collection of commentaries that are available. The future looks really bright. 20 years from now, we're going to have so many other commentaries, other options on our shelves that bring in other voices and perspectives. So that was really fun. So this is not our usual Torah Tuesday, but I just thought I'd give you a glimpse, maybe behind the scenes, on what it's like to be a Bible scholar and to try to stay on top of our game academically and learn and grow. It was a great week, and it will be paying dividends for many years to come. The things I learned, the people I met, and the books I bought. So I hope you all have a great week. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Next week, we'll be back to Exodus again with Torah Tuesday.